Ethereum Merge has been one of the most awaited crypto events in 2022. It's been delayed like 6 times already, but it finally happened. So what exactly merged? Ethereum Mainnet, that is the previous Ethereum network that used to run on the proof-of-work consensus mechanism, merged with the Beacon chain that runs on the proof-of-stake consensus mechanism. And in order for us to understand why this is going to be big for Ethereum, first let's understand the difference between the two consensus mechanisms. So first let's start with what a consensus mechanism is. A blockchain is exactly what it sounds like, which is a chain of blocks where each consecutive block contains information about the previous block and new transactions information. The security of a blockchain is guaranteed by the validator nodes, and anyone with the proper equipment, such as a computer, a laptop, or maybe a dedicated server, can set up their own validator node. And that's what makes a blockchain decentralized and secure, because each validator node contains the whole history of transactions that happen on the blockchain. That's why a single bad actor cannot tamper with it. In order to add a new block to a blockchain, all the nodes need to come to some sort of agreement, and that is done in multiple ways because there are multiple consensus mechanisms. But there are two main ones, which is the proof of work and proof of stake. Bitcoin, which is the largest crypto right now by the market cap, is using proof of work consensus mechanism. And Ethereum used to use proof of work, but now is running on proof of stake consensus mechanism. So why is this important? With proof of work consensus mechanism, each node races against other nodes to solve a difficult mathematical equation to be able to add the next block to the blockchain and get rewarded for that. And that requires a lot of computational power, such as computer chips, graphics cards, or maybe even separate mining rigs. And you might have seen these huge commercial warehouses being rented out where they have a bunch of shelves set up with graphics cards that all work together to solve that equation. And that requires a lot of energy. It is estimated that Bitcoin alone uses annually about 127 terawatt hour of electricity, which is higher than the whole country of Norway. And Ethereum, when it was running on proof of work, used to consume about half of that. Proof of stake is another consensus mechanism, but it serves the same purpose of adding the next block to a blockchain. But this time it doesn't require a lot of computational power because there is no mathematical equation to be solved. Instead, a validator node needs to have a certain amount of Ethereum staked for a certain period of time in order to make sure that they're not going to tamper with the blockchain, otherwise they're going to lose all their staked Ethereum. And the network selects who gets to add the next block based on the weighted average of tokens staked and how long this node has been validating transactions on the blockchain. So the more tokens a node has staked and the longer the node has been validating transactions on the blockchain, the higher the chances of being selected to add another block and get rewarded for that. So as you can see, it doesn't require a lot of computational power this time, and the energy consumed by Ethereum network is going to be just a little bit higher than your day-to-day use of your computer or laptop. So this merge has cut Ethereum energy consumption by 99.95%. And this alone, dare I say, might dethrone Bitcoin as the world's largest crypto, and here's why. Bitcoin is the largest crypto by market cap, and Ethereum is trailing just behind it on position number 2. The market cap of Bitcoin is slightly higher than 2 times the market cap of Ethereum. So technically, Ethereum needs to double its price in order to be about the same market cap as Bitcoin. But there's a lot more utility with Ethereum because they have smart contracts. But if the energy consumption will be the problem, that might affect their scalability. And now switching to proof of work reduced their energy consumption by a lot, and that's why it might be a problem and even a threat for Bitcoin. You see, climate change is a worldwide problem, and in 2016 the European Union and 193 other states that represent 98% of worldwide greenhouse gas emissions signed an agreement known as the Paris Agreement to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and reach net zero by the mid-21st century. The US, being the second largest emitter of greenhouse gases, is committed to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions by 50% by 2030. So this includes all emerging technologies such as blockchain to contribute to this net zero clean energy future. In March 2022, the US President Joe Biden signed Executive Order number 14067 named Ensuring Responsible Development of Digital Assets. And in that order, it is stated that responsible development includes reducing negative climate impact and environmental pollution. The executive order directed the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, in coordination with other federal agencies, to issue a report on on the climate and energy implications of crypto assets in the United States. And in that report, the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy highlighted that Bitcoin and other proof-of-work blockchains are very energy consuming. It doesn't directly say that it's going to negatively affect this goal of reaching 50% cut of greenhouse gas emissions by 2030, but it does say that it can contribute to the greenhouse gas emissions if the energy used for mining comes from the grid. It also points out that the renewable source of energy can reduce the environmental footprint from mining. Now, what the government is going to do with this information is uncertain at this point, but I do believe we're going to see some sort of regulations coming out soon that might affect Bitcoin miners. Now, another question that I would like to answer in this video is, are gas fees going to get lower? And the answer is no, unfortunately no, and here's why. The gas fee is a fee that a user of the network pays in order to get their transaction added to the next block. And each block has a normal block size of 15 million gas with the maximum block size of 30 million gas. And it all comes down to Ethereum's popularity and how congested the network is when there is a high volume of transactions happening on the blockchain. Every Ethereum gas fee consists of two components, which is the base fee and the tip. The base fee always stays the same, but when the network gets congested, the size of the block can reach up the maximum of 30 million gas. And when that happens, and especially when that happens consecutively, the base fee is increased by 12.5% with each consecutive node. So the base fee is rising, and with that the tip is also rising, because when there is a lot of people that want to have their transaction added to the next block, they're trying to outbid other users of the network, and that raises the tip as well. This can significantly affect the scalability and wider adoption of Ethereum network as well, because if the fees are going to go higher, then the usage is going to go lower. That's why the next step after the merge is going to be adding sharding, which Ethereum plans to introduce in 2023. And I'm probably going to make a separate video on that, so stay tuned to understand how Ethereum is going to use sharding to expand their capacity to store data, increase their throughput, and finally reduce the gas fees. So all these changes are very important for the wider adoption of Ethereum in the future. Overall, I'm positive about the long-term future of Ethereum, and it's definitely going to affect the price of Ethereum positively in the long run. But before we wrap up, let me just answer some of the comments and tweets that I saw about the fact that Ethereum is now deflationary, because that's not necessarily the case just yet. So let me explain. Before the merge, when Ethereum was on proof of work, there were two types of issuance rewards. One was to Ethereum miners, and that was about 13,000 ETH per day. And the other one to Ethereum stakers, that was about 1,600 per day. And in total, that would represent about 5.5 million ETH added to the circulation annually. And with the current circulating supply of 120 million ETH, that would be about 4.6%. But you gotta remember that there is also a burn mechanism, and that burn mechanism offsets some of this issuance. And that burn mechanism varies depending on the network activity, because what's being burned is actually the base fee that I was talking about earlier. And as we can see right now on the ultrasound.money website, which is, by the way, a great website to make some sort of simulations about the issuance and the burn rate, we can see that the supply has been constantly growing over the years. But right now, after switching to proof of stake, that part that was issued for miners is cut. So we're cutting 13,000 ETH every day, which represents almost 90% of all ETH issued in a day. So with the 13 million ETH staked currently, we're getting an issuance rate of about 1,600 ETH per day. And with the current network activity and the gas fees, we're paying on average about 4 gwei, and 4 gwei is about 0.4 ETH. So if we make the calculation, it's going to be 1.6 minus 0.4, which is 1.2 ETH that are added to the circulating supply. So knowing that, there are two things that we need to look at to identify whether Ethereum is going to be deflationary, and that is that the staking Ethereum growth rate should be lower than the network activity rate, because the increase in network activity is what's going to help Ethereum burn more tokens, because base fee is what's being burned. So assuming that the staking amount is going to grow to about 35 million ETH, which is going to be about 30% of all Ethereum in circulation, which I can see that happening, because now that there is no more mining, some of the miners might switch to staking, so that can hypothetically happen. Then at this rate, Ethereum would be issuing about 2,700 new tokens every day, meaning that the network activity needs to increase to a level where the gas fee on average would be about 27 Gwei. That represents the same 2,700 ETH being burned. And I can totally see that happening, and once we're out of this bear market and we're back to a bull market, it's probably going to reach all this level and even higher, because in the previous bull run it was reaching all the way up to 120 Gwei per transaction. So I'm going to leave the link to the ultrasound.money below in the description so you can play with it based on your own predictions. And that was it for this video. I know this was a lot of information, but I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up to help YouTube algorithm. And if you want to see more stuff like this, please subscribe to my channel down below and hit notification bell to get notified next time new video comes out. And I'll see you all guys in the next one. Bye.